Watched a video last night by Connor Tomlinson where he did this. It's like it was kind of framed as like it's either us or them, if you know what I mean. About the he'd been paying close attention to the grooming gang inquiry, the Rupert Lowe thing. So they know the truth now, and in all its glory, and they've just been hit with it. And now it'll be nesting in and fitting in with everything they already know about the corrupt institutions of this country and how they've allowed such terrible things to happen. So when the truth hits you, and this is an old truth to me, I'm a veteran of this sort of revelation. It's part of who I am, that I know terrible things. Working class atrocity, things that happen to the little people, are very much central to my experience of the world. Very much central. And he's got this information. He is absolutely furious as far as I was concerned. And it's a matter of when they say, you can't handle the truth sometimes. Well, there'd be an absolute truth to it when it comes to him. I think he needs to sit on that and settle down as to, right, okay, get your fucking senses back, dickhead. How does that restore Britain being very, very angry about this and then appearing to set down to try to run on a mandate of what would be rash action that would plummet this country into fucking civil war? It's like Rupert Lowe, right, has exposed himself to people who are victims, but also some of the most dangerous women in the world, because the stories they can tell you will fuck you up for good. Witches' tongues. It's like, this is toxic, right? It's dangerous stuff to be putting out into. It's horror, and it's like, this is like true crime like you, so it's titillating to many. It grabs the attention. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do it. I'm saying it needs to be done right. But it's like, right, these guys with the way they're talking now are making some real knee-jerk statements because they're so emotionally affected by it, which I think everybody who's ever been involved in this kind of stuff, the deeper you get, the more it gets really raw. So I mean, being a kind of veteran of it, I look at the way they're saying deport, deport, deport. People knew about this. People kept their mouth shut. And it's like, this is really bad talk, man. This is dangerous talk. It's like the Rochdalian says, man, right, we went through this shit. We go through this shit. The working class people of this town face atrocity, all kinds of bullying, all kinds of falling in with the wrong people, all kinds of addictions, all kinds of being abandoned by the state, all kinds of things like that go on. And it's like, where the fuck were you to be angry now and to start screaming deport when you don't understand the notion of, if I know if I run my mouth, it will cost me my fucking life. These guys, they're not very sophisticated, and they're along the lines of how codes of silence make bad things happen in places like this. Now, those who watched me for years could recall or go back in my videos to say, as far as this town works, right? Pre-COVID, 2016, 2017, you'd be seeing me pleading out into the world to say, MI5, right, or some kind of FBI, if you exist for real in this country, could you please come to Rochdale? I have a lot of things I'd like to tell you about. Are you interested at all in get cutting through a smoke screen, and then eventually getting to the truth and likely even finding Islamic terrorism. It's like, what else is hiding behind this smoke screen of drugs, prostitution, political entanglement? It's like we're all seeing it with our bare eyes, and it's like, you're not listening to us. You're calling us Islamophobic. You're calling us racist. You're asking for statements from community leaders who are saying, we're not doing anything. We're good people. And it's like they're all speaking for themselves, but it's like they're all frightened. They're all really frightened and mouthing off about those who are up to no good. And the reason to be afraid because of who they're dealing with. No one who puts their dicks in kids wants it to be known that that's what they're up to. And because so many of them are complicit in it together, no one's telling. Never. And at the same time, it's like people who pride themselves on kind of loyalty, they'll go to the ground before they'll go into the grave before they'll turn in their own. Because they have to play the act, they have to play the part. Otherwise, people might say, you didn't try hard enough. Well, you don't understand gangsterland. You don't understand the world as to where people work at places and fiddle, steal things, arrange for things to go missing. You don't know places like that exist. You don't know about fences. You don't know about networks for thieves. You don't know that when you get burgled, your best course of action is not to ring the police, it's to ring criminals and find out who did it. Either pay to get your stuff back or have more dangerous people on your side and go and get them back. That's how you deal with burglaries. You don't call the police unless you just want the insurance money. If you want your stuff back, you go and get it. And never contact the police, because if you mean to go and get it, you just scrapped it, you just fucked it up, because apparently then you're taking the law into your own hands and they will fucking turn up for that. I live in a world where the police are a weapon you set on people, understanding that they'll be absolutely systematic in how they process someone, and the process be the punishment. The police be a bunch of people who the criminals set on each other and other people. And I don't see how they exist beyond that, because they're not interested enough. And you see the old videos of the fucking, you look at the jobs they're being sent on, where you end up with a gotcha video turn up on X of little kids dressed as cops, mouthing off about things you might have said online that have offended people. It's like the jobs they're being sent on that the rules say they have to attend. What are these guys policing? They become the tools of anyone who wants to set them on anyone, and everyone knows it. They're a way of jamming someone up, a way of doing them terrible psychological harm without laying a finger on them and never facing a repercussion for doing it. They are, to use big words, an instrument of evil. You find yourself, it's like an instrument of, it's like you might find yourself the odd exception. They were very, very helpful to me when I was having problems with my neighbours at my last address. Very helpful. It's fucking brilliant that, you know, the police were actually really helpful to me. Helped me get into this flat. Because of the trouble I was having with neighbours staying up all night and having music playing all night and all that kind of shenanigans. And then when you address the situation, all the promises in the world followed by all the threats in the world, and it's like, oh, nutters. Landlords don't give a shit. Well, you've got to record them for 30 days in a row, but you've got to do it using our app. I'm like, I'm a critical heart patient at this moment in time. Here's my paperwork. This is killing me. I'm in trouble here. I'm ending up hospitalised because I don't get to sleep, because I've got thud, 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 thud coming through my floor all night. And no one could do anything in the end, and I ended up eventually calling the police. Never called the police on anyone before in my fucking life. Have I? No, I have. So it's the second time ever. First lad needed the police calling on him as well, because he needed someone to have a word with him. He only missed out on stabbing me with a fucking quite a sharp knife, because of the leather biking jacket I was wearing. He couldn't get through it. But he left me with an horrible fucking sort of bruise, you know what I mean, where he dug it in. But yeah, some fucking idiot kid once tried to stab me in the back. Call cops on him. And it's like, I don't know how you're going to deal with this, cops. Like, why? It's like, well, the reason he stabbed me in the back is because I just punched him in the face as hard as I could. Oh, and it's like, did he? So you instigated the violence? So yeah, but he was mouthing off. He started it. Oh, so when it gets less cut and dry, I'm like to the police, like, look, please, just this lad's only. I was about 18 at the time. A lad who did it was about 16. I'm like, look, this kid ain't shit. It's like, if you go down there now and go and look for him and have a word with him and see if you can see if he's still got his knife, maybe take it off him. Maybe you might be able to frighten him into not going out with a fucking knife anymore, and maybe never found out what happened to that crazy bastard. The crazy bastards at that level, in my experience, usually end up dead because they fuck with the wrong person. You tried to stab someone, right? It's like, oh, I had to go a long way not to really hurt that guy. You know, but obviously I would have had to have stripped the knife, but then what happens? I thought I did really well there. I thought I'd been a good lad. But the second time I ever called the police on someone was to say, there's something going on with this flat upstairs. Told the tale as was to the police, and it turns out they're a fugitive up there. There was somebody hiding out from the police up there. And they came along and arrested his ass for me. But I'm like, yay! But the way that the police work, he was done and dusted through the system back the next day. Back out, back released. Up in front of a magistrate, said he was sorry, mental illness problems, out you go. So he was immediately recycled, immediately sent back. So it's like I calls the police about it, and then the police ring up my doctor. I'm getting a phone call from my doctor saying, what's going on, John, with your situation and your neighbours? And my doctor's a useless piece of shit, but he's got the file in front of him that's like, oh, just out of hospital. It fucking what? Boom. Okay. Well, the police have been involved. The police have been in contact. They've been to see you. They've spoke to you, and they're asking, what? Next thing you know, phone call from landlords. We can emergency rehouse you. And the people in the flat above are being evicted. And do you know what? Do you know what really put the? Do you know what the icing on the cake was with the council? The girl who had the flat, who was lending it out above me, she said she's never going to be allowed to have an RBH property again. She's had 3 chances and she's blown it. Like, Oh, so she's been an absolute nightmare neighbour on 2 other occasions and caused fucking mayhem and chaos and fucked with people and lied to them. Twice before, and you stick her in the flat above me. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the fucking heads up. It's like, thanks for years for having neighbours imposed on me who were like, you wouldn't believe that these people exist. They were that fucked up. You wouldn't. Number of times where myself and the woman who lived in the house next door had to have comings together as to where we need to see about getting these people evicted. Why? Before they kill each other. If they've no venue to kill each other, maybe they won't kill each other. Maybe they'll go home. You see, there's a whole side of the world that doesn't understand this level of sort of base game. It's like, well, I look at it as to, right, okay, you are normal people in this world, and suddenly you find yourself in trouble and getting picked on, and there ain't no one to fucking help you. No one. Well, say in my case, we had neighbours, but thing is, the police were after that lad. They fucking hated him. He represented a lot of ongoing work for them, and they wanted to know where he was. I've had that before where the police have busted into my flat. Twice that's happened. The police have busted into my flat, mistaking it for the flat upstairs. Oh, there's a light on. Not even looking at the number on the door. Bang. You sat in your living room, like playing on a computer game or something, and in walk the police, calling you by someone else's name, and then making you prove you're not the person that they've come to arrest. And it be, you didn't have to smash my door down, you could have just knocked. Usually you knock. Them looking for fugitives, the police, of various people who've lived in the flat upstairs, and then also the number of people who've done some kind of credit card fraud or some kind of wire fraud or some kind of mail fraud out of there is off the scale. So I would perpetually have people knocking on my door saying, are you this guy? No. Oh. And the way bailiffs work these days, they have like everyone's debt. They catch you, and they catch you on behalf of everyone you owe money to. So they're not sending 20 bailiffs out, they're sending one to deliver 20 notes or track down 20 debts. And I've been so helpful to them over the years, saying, well, that guy don't live there no more. I didn't hear nothing from him. It's like weird. It's like you find yourself in like council property, you know, the number of fucking kids who are retarded, right? Dicks. Will get a flat, right? And they'll be on universal credit and gas. You know what I mean? Universal credit and gas, that seems like a weird fucking thing to go together, but that's how some people live in their lives now. Helium and universal credit. And the way you can have enough money for helium is, these days, once upon a time, your housing benefit used to be paid directly to your landlord, but they stopped doing that when universal credit come out, because they said they wanted to teach people how to better manage money. So what happens is they give the claimant the rent money to pay the council with, which to me is a better arrangement, because it's a matter of, oh well, they can no longer throw in the face as to, well, you can't complain, you don't pay rent, because they used to. You're on benefits. Why should we bother? They used to be like that. You're not someone who's paying rent, are you? You're a tenant, but you're not really a rent. Well, nowadays they can't really make that distinction anymore. So they tend to treat people a little bit better, because at the end of the day, you can withhold the government's rent money, and you get it where it takes them about a year to kick someone out. And I've had a few neighbours me who've moved in and never paid a penny of rent, and just kept all the money. Just never paid a penny of rent. It's like, how do you know I never paid a penny of rent? Well, get the mail delivered pretty often, accidentally. Where eventually, when all kinds of sinister shit's going on, when my post goes through their doors, they read it. So when their post comes through mine, I had a magazine subscription that was gifted to me for 12 months that was quite expensive, and never found out about it because my neighbour, my sister, put in the wrong address, but with my name on, and the people in the flat upstairs, they quite liked it, so they kept it. And I found out years later that my sister had paid for me. About 2 years later, I found out my sister had paid for a magazine subscription for me. I ended up challenging him and said, for a year, did magazines arrive here? Movie mags, Empire. Used to read that. Before the internet, I used to read magazines, you know. And they're like, oh yeah. I thought, did you never think of just giving them me? Oh, well, we like it. We liked them. And them liking them was enough for them not to, oh, I'm sorry I've given you, but we've thrown them away. So my sister buys me like a surprise birthday present. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. My sister didn't get me anything for Christmas this year. Or didn't get me anything for my birthday. But she did, but it arrived at the wrong place because she put the wrong address on it. That's the kind of people that's the kind of people you have to put up with. Wow. It's like, you come to this, like I say, it's like for that restore or reform to make an impact in Rochdale, right? They have to really reach out to its heart and its core. They have to find that crowd who sit round each other's kitchen tables talking about the state of it. And unfortunately for them, the people that they need to be talking to are all allied with Farouk and George Galloway. The actual activist existence in Rochdale is a Pakistani one. The other communities' ability to find people and put them out, they just don't exist. They're absolute dog shit. There's no one. There's possibly just me, and a few others, but me and the few others are such veterans, understanding the way the town works. It's like we're not on anyone's side. So you think I'll side with anyone who can beat anyone Labour, because I take it as seriously as it should be. I take the future of this country more seriously than many people who've got kids. Many people who've got kids don't face it or won't face the absolute horror of what happens to other people's kids, and that'd be a problem too. I got just as much stake in this place as anyone else. So it's embarrassing for me. In recent times, I've had some real belittling fucking incidents that have come up. As to oh my God, John, it's like you had a picture of indolence, you fucking fool. It's like, why is that, John? Went to a funeral recently of my great uncle. My mother's uncle. Everyone from their side of the family is in one way a genius, in one way or another. Everyone. It's like easy to say that, John. What do you mean genius? It's like, oh well, the great granddad who died, he'd won an MBE for services to British industry and export. at one time held world records for having the most patented inventions, and at one stage he had more air miles than any human. Died age 97, and in his own field of expertise in heavy engineering, rubber processing machines, tire manufacturing, global titan. Global titan. Circles he moves in. Oh my God. And then you've got his son. I met his son, but I only briefly got to just speak to him and introduce myself. My mum used to tell me about my cousin, Stephen, and she told me he was a nuclear physicist. Right. Okay. And I'd heard this story from being 4 or 5 years old. My cousin's a nuclear physicist. You could be as smart as him. You know, everyone in our family, we all find something to do. We're all good at something. And I'm a nuclear physicist. Now, years and years later, they say that the chap is now retired. But he's obviously still thinking. You know, you don't ever stop doing that, and you don't ever stop improving at that if you're as good as he is. And it's like, so what's the score with him? So I asked Grok earlier on about me cousin Stephen. Just asked it. And straight up put Dr. Stephen Elwood, PhD. He's my second cousin. I've never met him. What do you know about him? Maybe. Indeed, nuclear physicist. He is someone who has, in his way, saved more lives than anyone I can think of. What? Yeah, it's weird. He's one of the pioneers of the technology of smoke alarms and detection. One of the guy basically who advanced the technology to what it is today. It's like every single one of you in the house that you're in will have a piece of technology that's a modern smoke alarm that senses a few different kinds of things. And it's like, yeah, it was technology developed by my second cousin. It's like, yeah, world renowned, world leader in fire prevention, scanning, detection technology. And then you say, Grok, his younger brother's done all right for himself as well. My cousin John. And it's like, can you go away and find out what he's known for? It's like, what? So I'm like, I'm told that he has something to do with syncing and dubbing technology for editing films and things. And it, oh, bang, comes back. Yeah, he actually won an Academy Award for it. What? It's like, yes, my cousin John invented the industry standard tools used nowadays for all dubbing and lip syncing recording. There's a thing in the world these days you'll see as to the day the TV show comes out, it's already been synced up and re-recorded into all these different languages. Well, the reason that they can do that so quickly these days is because they've got technology that does it for them. Well, once upon a time, it would have taken painstaking editing, wouldn't it, to get the lips completely synced. Well, cousin John invented the industry standard technology that does it for you, and put probably film editors out of work the world over, but also made it possible for them to do much, much more work in a shorter amount of time. So it's like, Oh, so this guy's like tech royalty, like tech Hollywood royalty. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, he's his systems were first used on Lord of the Rings trilogy, Harry Potter movies, now seen as industry standard. I had a good sit down with John last week. He struck me as a good lad. Practical man. It's like you can talk to people like him. He ain't got time for your nonsense. He's a doer. Pretty much lives on his yacht. A very funny thing that came up with Grok when I asked about John. I put, he pretty much lives on a yacht. He's got loads of money. Offhand comment, which I do. You shouldn't do things like that with AI because it delivers. And it come back saying it wouldn't want to speculate how much money he will have made from licensing of his software. But it'd be an incredible amount of money. Yeah, it's like, yeah, the guy owns like he owns licenses on major software brands that when you've built say if you've built apps, it's endlessly replicable, isn't it? How much money you can make just to duplicate, and within the tight field of what is movie makers and people who make apps, people who make this kind of content. Looks like you can't do that job without coming across a piece of his technology to aid you. So it's like he's a massive big deal with a fucking Oscar. Wow. So old John, who's from the same fucking bloodline, you know what I mean? Who's got the same bones. As to look at them as family, it's like they've got mannerisms that we've got. It's like, but they're mannerisms from the other side, the family, as to the like walking reminders of the dead. Was one some I didn't realise just how useful, my granddad, their uncle, of this proper tight, skillful, intelligent family. I never appreciated my granddad until he was just gone, and years later, as to where I could ask him questions, and people used to hate me for that when I was a kid, that I asked questions all the time, and sometimes they were daft, but I wouldn't ask the same question twice, but I used to ask people questions all the time, and people were like, will you shut up asking questions all the time? Well, my granddad never did that. He never did that. He always explained what he were doing. I said, what are you doing? And he'd always explain it. He'd always show you. When you go and see him, he was usually always tinkering in his cellar. And he'd join you for lunch, you know what I mean? And you go down and you'd watch what he were doing, and he'd be right, stay away from that fire. Because he had a forge in his cellar. His neighbours must have fucking hated him. But at the same time, they must have loved him as well, because he were a decent lad. It'd be a matter of there'd be no job in a house that needed to be done that he couldn't do. He started off as a marine engineer and then got into like precision carpentry, every bit an engineer, to become a pattern maker. Like Starmer's dad supposedly were. Yeah, well, my granddad really was. And it's like the whole family of them are fucking geniuses. Except me. All of them. Like, I didn't get to speak to, but briefly heard a conversation between a third cousin of mine, who was a ginger fellow, who was very, very well spoken, very nice, but a very ginger fellow. and his wife, and she was kind of pretty but kind of odd to look at, and then she opened her mouth and it all come to life, and it's like weirdo genius. It's like, oh, she's moving up north. She's actually moving closer to the likes of us a little bit, in that she'd taken up a position teaching anthropology at, I think, Durham University. Not no bullshit, gender, black, no. Anthropology. All of them in that way have gone down those roads, have gone down and been, in the way, wholly accepted into education, industry, society. I think that, in essence, free of the chip on my shoulder as to where it's like my talent has been perverted quite young, hasn't it? And then been wasted on futile endeavour like trying to become good at football and snooker. Difficult things that in some ways can be all consuming. You can feel pretty good about yourself if you're good at snooker, you know. You can have fuck all, nothing. But if you go find yourself a few quid and win a few games of snooker, you feel all right. You're somebody around here. It's enough. I say I'm used to coming from a world where the expectations of what people can achieve are very, very low. And you say you put me into the company of people who've never stopped and always achieved. And in the case of Stephen, I mean, John, he's just a legend in computer technology. It's like Stephen, who's invented all these very cheap and very effective fire detection mechanisms. He's changed the world a little bit, hasn't he, and made it a little bit better. There's a cousin of mine who's made his own way in the world, who's of the same stock. My cousin Justin, he's of the same breed. He's fucking genius. Like what? Well, it's like his genius. We all witnessed it, and everyone else told us about it. We didn't have to be convinced. Where you've got it where he were a lad who were pulling things together and putting them back together and making new things out of them and innovating and doing sciencey things with batteries and pulling together basic electronics and learning how it all worked. His big project as to where he made himself kind of half famous was he bought a motorbike. He wanted a motorbike, so he bought one, and the one that he bought was one that he could afford, and it had all kinds of things wrong with it. He needed almost everything, and it was kind of more than he could. He bit off more than he could chew. We could chew, really, doing it. So it sat there, and he worked on it bit by bit over a very long period of time. And then eventually he made friends with the parts guy at a place where years later I would work myself. And they're the same guys. And they used to have this lad who was like 16 who was using his paper round money that he was buying, like 13, 14, 15, you know, at that kind of age. He weren't old enough to ride a small bike. But by the time he got it going, he was. L plates on it, like a 125. And they liked him so much, the guys in parts at where I used to work with Bill and Dorian as a lad, because he was so smart and he already knew so much because he had good teachers and his uncle and his dad. Like they helped him. He looked at the microfiches. They let him have a look to see how things went together, because basically the manual, the workshop, the proper workshop manuals. They just got it there. So have a look. And with their help and his ability to make things, improvise, and do it. He rebuilt himself a quite a low cost a 125cc motorcycle, which he then got through an MOT, did every job on it, electrics, everything. Got it on an MOT, put it on the road, and then became a kid who rode around on a motorbike. And then his next project was a Honda CBR 600 that was utterly destroyed, but he wanted one and he didn't want to pay for a new one. So he got a damaged, destroyed one and completely rebuilt it. It'd be in the circle of I used to work in. They'd be talking about something that needed a frame of a motorcycle or something like that that got damaged, and it's like it's a write off that. It's like, could it not be repaired? It's like, you're Justin doing out. It's like, I only know one bloke who can repair that. So it's like he went from the tinker himself to getting himself a trade. Didn't go to university or anything like that, like the other ones in the family do. He got himself a trade and he became a precision welder. And Justin's the best welder and prefabricator of steel and aluminium you've ever seen in your life. And I've seen his handiwork as to he's made he's fabricated car parts, like wings. He let me have a drive once in a car that he was driving around in, which was when he got the frame of an ancient car and just built it up. It's like something out of the fucking 40s. And he's like, don't fucking rev it too hard, it's only got a little engine. It's like, what the fuck is this you've made? Like making from scratch a vintage car, and it's like, oh, when it's finished, be like, whoa, it's like got red lead on it. And he's driving around in it. Fucking road legal with all like wires everywhere and no dashboard. And he'd rather drive in it. Like some fucking Mad Max. So it's like, yes, my cousin Justin is a genius who can make anything. So I asked Grok, I says, I got a cousin of the same family who can just make anything out of metal. Got all the gear, all the machinery, everything. He's from Rochdale. He got trained up in Rochdale, where they have, we once had the world's best engineers and fabricators in this town, but we don't anymore. But we had them all once, and they all did what he did. He went to Australia, and ask Grok. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like, yeah, they found his business, found his website. And it's like, oh, yeah, God. Grok's like, oh, God, yeah, this is guy's custom built. Makes accessories for 4x4 vehicles by hand. And 100 different tricks, can make anything. Puts out there, he can make anything, any process, any kind of metal. And it's like, oh, and I'm like, so it's like, yeah, in his small field of having things made out of whatever you need it to be made out of, to whatever specification you require. Yeah, he's one of the best in Australia. That's absolutely not surprised at all. One of the most talented people I've ever known in my life. Grog's asking, are there any more of these talents in your family? It's like, yeah, yeah, there is. Like, well, I'm not one of them. It's like, in my case, it's been spent in a different way, hasn't it? All of it. It's been spent in a different way, sacrificed even. That song of Chris Christopherson's, that "Why Me?" I understand it now. I've wasted it. Made me realise that it's like I've wasted it. I had, by way of, I got a bad heart, but that's not an excuse. I always had a good enough mind, and it has to be said, I've wasted a genius's talent. Wasted. And no one stopped me. It's like you put yourself among your own, your own people, your own blood like that, and it'd be like, there's no fucking knobheads in here, is there? There's no fucking alkies. There's no fucking people who are shagging around here. There's no secrets. There's no untowards. There's no. It's like, this is a dead zone. This place only revolves around what we're up to, what we do, and what we're doing next. And got it where every single one of those people be people who live their lives absolutely completely by the book, and certainly pay 40% tax at least. It's like, my cousin John, right, is the best kind of rich you can be. I think it took me a minute for my reward and sort of reward orientated sort of machinery to get my head around it entirely. But when I worked it out, I was fucking astonished as to what he'd done for himself in retiring, having, created industry standard editing software and been given an Oscar and earned fucking many millions of pounds for his work. It's like, imagine setting yourself up like this, right? He got himself a boat. It's like, I think it's a 112-foot yacht. It's a proper boat. Well, I can do anything with proper boat, big boat, sails, engines. And because he's a tech guy, it's got every conceivable tech addition to it as well. So he's got drones for sure. We've seen loads of his drone pictures. He's got drones. He's got likely camera drones, video drones. He's probably got underwater drones. He's got Starlink now. So for 90 quid a month. 90 quid a month. Once upon a time, having decent communications at sea would have been about carrying a lot of equipment, but now it's not. Now it can be as advanced as it needs. You've got all the bandwidth in the world. You've got all the processing power that the fucking AIs of the internet. As to where he's in a situation where he, right, lives on his boat when he can, but he's got problems because of Brexit that mean that he can only moor in Europe for 90 days a year, and then he has to vacate. And it's like, someone needs to have a word with the government about that, because that's got absolutely nothing to do with being in the EU, has it? No, it doesn't. But try and find a Labour politician who gives a fuck about the rights of British citizens and their yachts. The Labour Party are deeply at war with people like John, who've got a few quid. They really, really don't think they deserve to have that money. But say, he's from fundamentally an engineering background and an electrical engineering background as well. So he's can do anything he fancies doing in his boat. He's not crossed the Atlantic. He was going to do it, but this year, but the timing and the weather's not right, and problems where he can go and problems where he can moor. So it's like there's a lot of preparation goes into it, and then as well as that, he'd need to hire another couple of crewmen or recruit a few people he knows who can sail, because the boat would need to be fully crewed in order to go all the way across the Atlantic. And I thought it was the funniest thing in the world when I said, I was just joking now, but I tried to be silly as fuck. Like, you could do it with two if you didn't bother having a watch at night. You know, oh no, you need 24 hour, you need 24-hour watch on a boat. Like, why don't you just weigh anchor and go to bed? I thought I was being very funny, but it didn't hit the way that it should. He'd missed a trick though. I was happy to add a little bit of sunshine into the light of my yacht owning, very good lad cousin. Is that Netflix has changed as to where it's now been regionalized, and it's not so friendly anymore to logging into from different locations. It's in essence found some resistance to VPNs and things like that. And he says he can't get his Netflix anywhere at sea. And I pointed out to the fact that why don't you use your VPN to tell it you're at home in England and just log into your Netflix UK account? And it's like, just missed a little trick. You can use it to pretend to be at home. Yes, you can, can't you? I'm a man of, whoever's chasing me out in the world is going to have a real fucking problem finding me. Because if the football's on, I'm usually in Argentina. I use Argentina because no one would ever expect me to go there. I don't speak a word of Spanish. I love the idea of VPNs. They're hilarious. It's like the cheapest VPN in the world is to have a good mate who lives in another country. That's all you need. You can make your own VPN. So when governments get to talking about banning them, it's like, okay, do you understand the ins and outs of what one of these is? And they're like, explain it, because they don't. It's like, this is a fundamental internet technology. This is a handshake protocol from the fucking oldest days of wide area networking. And it's so simple, you can make your own. So it's like banning them is not you can't, it's like trying to ban the moon or something. We're banning the moon. We're banning keyboards. Yeah, it's just built into the system. There's no way of banning a fucking VPN. Like, no. If they made it so like you couldn't download the apps anymore, it'd just be a matter of, I think I know of people I could just send a Facebook message to and say, hey up mate, I need you to explain something to me. Even, in fact, no, I would just ask Grok, can you take me step by step how to make my own VPN, please? I've got somebody else's IP address and he's given me a full willingness to share his internet connection with me. How do I do it? Grok will tell you how to do it. Normally, I know a few IT boffins who'd normally, under normal circumstances, like something terrible hasn't just happened, like they haven't just had a flood or haven't just been bereaved, would be more than happy to help me set my own up. I know some boffins. But yeah, you weigh that up, cousin John. He says he reckons it's like he never runs out of jobs to do on his own boat. And in the past, he used to work for other people, and he's a man of really, really high skill, knowledge, know-how, and willingness to get dirty, get stuck in, take it apart, fix it. Wants to do it, even. He willingly does it. Well, he has the greatness of still having his health, still having his fitness, and having all of his own faculties. It's like all the things I learned to do at work, I can now just use for my own devilment. What do you choose to do? Oh, sail around Britain. Nowhere to go. Retired. Do what I want. And I choose not to be in this country. Choose to be elsewhere. And I'm going to make my own way. And it be, I'm a rich man, but no one's heard of me. And I've got all the respect in the world. I move in all the best circles of people. At the business end, at the tech end, at the proper money end, at the civilized end of society. And I can walk down the street and no one knows me from fucking Adam. But I can have and do whatever I want. It's like, who won? It's like, who won and who wins and how did they get there? And it's like, they've got themselves a good foundational education, but it's not so much the schools they went to, it's the fucking parents they had. Spent time with their kids and handed down their passions, which have then manifested in different ways. And they've all found their own way to be fucking brilliant. Except me. Except me. It's like they put it to me as to say, well, what do you do, John? How have you contributed? Make a case for it, but fucking hell, the places I have to go to tell that tale. I just wrote to my cousin John, who's got the yacht, Hollywood fucking tech legend. I put it to him like, send us your email address so I can write to you. It's like I'll send you a dispatch from the Savage Reservation. Now, if he understands the reference there as to John from the Savage Reservation, if he's read his Huxley, he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So he said, it's what's called a shit test. A nice one, though, as to I've made a very strong reference to something that's very apt. And if you can appreciate the nuance and the thought of it, there's a conversation we need to have about our shared ancestry. That they already know about. They have to know about it. They'll already know about it because in their own side of the family, they've had a few people like my good self who've been born with defects. Where I've got a major heart defect, they've had an uncle born with quite a similar degenerative sort of problem. And it's like either they come out and they live like for about 100 years, right? Or there's something really wrong. They know about that. They already get it. So it's like, yeah, they might be the people to have a word with about what else we know about who, in essence, I am. I'd like to, because it's like I've always had the knowledge that I'm an outsider. I'm like an out of place artifact. I'm something that's in the wrong place. I've always felt that way. And it's like, well, why did you feel that way? And it comes to pass that I'm a lot more observant than other people. And it's like from nowhere, extra 30 plus points of IQ just pop up. So from the core of the family that still exists, that's still actually cohesive, right? Ours isn't. My side of it's just fragmented. The side of the family that's still cohesive, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, they're concerned, I would be with their understanding of, hey, we've got it in the bones, us, we're all smarty pants, us. With their understanding of that, would actually recognise me out in the world as being literally the character John the Savage from Brave New World, as to be one of their own kind, born on the savage reservation of Rochdale's council estate. I've always, I say, I know I have an outlier status for all kinds of things, fucking weird or negative, mutated, high IQ, all kinds of weird and wonderful fucking genetic defects and shit like that. But yeah, it's like, it's I'd always been told as a kid that my cousins and my uncle were proper, real smart guys, big shots, you know, on my mum's side of the family. But she's a very humble person. She doesn't brag or really talk about it so much. It's like I'm out of the loop. It's like that's nice, dear, sort of aloof. They've heard so much in the past of the achievements of their cousins that it's just, oh, that's nice. They're very aloof about it. My mother and her sisters. But you go and read the hard facts of as to what how much these blokes have achieved, and you're like, wow. Oh, the world's best at something. Here, here, and here. The world's best at something. It's like, what am I world's best at? Never even thought like that. It's a new way of thinking for me. It's infected my brain, a new way of thinking, as to say, it's like, you've tried, John, but it's like the environment you're in, it's just not, it hasn't been receptive to what is often the case of me saying, are you sure that's a good idea? And be of a lower, either social or socio-economic or lower rank in the workforce, and be that person to say, that doesn't make any sense to me, and here's why. And I'm not sure I'm into this. And I've never been able to get past that not difficultness in my nature, that, no, you can't trick me. What's this? It's madness. And it's like in the world, you kind of find the right people, or the right certain cultures where we don't make widgets. This is not a dangerous environment. This is a call center. This is an office. And what's practical and makes sense has got no place here. But in other environments, as to where it's like we've got certain things to do and we've got certain things to adhere and we've got certain understandings, it's like my instinct to, hey, hang on a minute, because I go along with instructions and orders. I'm a company guy, right? But when it goes, this makes no sense to me. If it makes no sense to me, I can't sell it because I got no enthusiasm for it. And if I can't sell it to myself, it's not worthy. And I spent years just hitting that brick wall. Nah. Set on a long journey that started with, why are people so thick? Why did they not just listen? Why are they so defensive about things? Why do they always just default to the same script that, in essence, oh, you've made it about this now, have you? It's like, what's the problem here? Is it like, is it me? And it turns out it was me, yes, but it was also them. So yeah, it's like myself, outsider, proud outsider, knowable, knowledgeable, self-aware outsider, happy outsider. It's like, give me a choice between what makes sense and what's fun, and the madness of the lives of others, and I'll stick with what makes sense and what's fun. For myself, for my own part, I mean, the chaos and idiocy of the world and the knee-jerk reactions and the fucking bullshit, right? Part of my existence is to try to dispel it. Like, really? But to have it in my life, no. I don't like having the rug pulled from under me. It when it happens these days, it's disappointing, but it doesn't. It's not the end of the world. Where earlier in life, well, when it happened, then yeah, it was. You get to my age, and you know, a good rug pull, it just as you reevaluate your situation, won't lower you through the floor, but it might taint your thoughts for 3 or 4 days as to where. But we let it go. Thing that with my heart condition, I don't actually need heated sort of ridiculous conflict, which is like many of my relatives are a little bit in the way histrionic, and they have the effect on me of being basically they don't listen to me, and they'll answer things I have to say and not even give me the chance to fucking end a sentence before they're off on one. Boom. And it's like, that gets my heart racing. You know, it's like on the phone or games like that, it's like, why have you just lost your mind? And once upon a time, I used to be a person who could deal with those situations well because I was so used to them. But nowadays, with my heart problem, fucking can't handle that no more. No. I never turn up anywhere looking for a fight, mate. I'm combative, but I don't turn up looking for a fight. You just say the wrong word, don't finish the sentence, fuck context, and suddenly somebody's on you, and you're like, yeah, the old game, this is why I'm here. This is what I've been up against. This is what I've been talking about my whole fucking life. Thanks for the reminder. I swear I put it out though to you lot out there who want in this country to be fucking saved. You got to get rid of them first. You got to get rid of that Labour Party thing first. Don't get hung up in this where they're all raw and all heated, you know, all hurt over what they've now seen in black and white and heard for themselves as to the terrible things that happen to working class people. It's like, welcome to the party. People in the world like my good self have been shouting out in the dark for years. As to say, there's a level of tragedy here that you're not even fucking thinking twice about. Well, suddenly, yeah. Suddenly, oh my God. And I'm like, this is an ongoing thing, you know. It's like, this never ends when it starts. The victims of this are untreatable at the moment by what passes for psychiatric service and psychological service in this country. They're too difficult to deal with. People go in and talk to them about their experience so they can get it off and understand it and discuss it. And they're awake all week, aren't they? They're having nightmares about what, and it's like they burn out. The people who are better, the people who are best able to sort of understand them and help them, they just burn them out. They create the person that experiences leave behind is not a very credible person. Let's just say that they had permanent psychological damage done to them. The victims are always the victims. They stay the victims forever. It's like they're no longer in danger and they're no longer being abused, but the effects that the abuse has had on them has marked them permanently. They'll never ever be the same person again as they were before, ever. And to ever think they can be is a road to some real disappointment. You never have a normal life. You've no means to have one. The mechanisms you're going to rely on in the future to be a good parent and a good person have been irreparably destroyed, sabotaged. Someone reaches out a kind hand and you see a bribe. Yeah, people who have incredible issues with trust and then precipitating their own betrayal, who'd be victims of grooming, who've been rug pulled. And, you know, the tales you're hearing, the tales you're hearing these days that have had an effect, that have certainly had an effect on Connor, are these tales of some girl getting locked up and then getting on the phones and saying, hey, we've got a girl here. And brothers and cousins and fathers sending the sons to practice. So yeah, it's a terrible story. It's like it was a terrible story when I first heard it too. I've heard a version of that story from a friend of mine who, people who like drugs, they find themselves in all kinds of weird situations in life. I'll just say it as to being someone who likes drugs. The thing that's the bad about them is the company you have to keep and the relationships you have to maintain in order to obtain them. As to where they can take the most innocent, hard-working person and just for a couple of hours here and there, drag them into a world of very dangerous fucking gangsters and terrible behaviour. And it's like there's many people in the world who've got connections. And their connections in life sometimes take them into situations that are a little bit, whoa, when you get there. Worst thing in the world, you know, with drug dealers is, have you got anything? Yeah, come round, I'll sort you out. Okay. And you get there and the place is full of fucking crazy fucking numbskull fucking gangster criminals. Oh, we're just having a sit down. Found myself in so many of them over the years that it's mad as to where it's like, okay, I'm getting wrecked in someone's kitchen with a load of fucking criminals, dangerous people, and I'm just listening to the stories. I in that kind of company, and having been someone who's fallen in with the wrong people over the years, they love me, those guys. They think I'm fucking brilliant. Why? Because I make them better criminals. See angles as to how they get themselves trouble and caught that they don't see, and educate them in how to be more discreet and not get caught. What? Oh, I'm just that kind of guy. I just find myself in the whatever company I'm in. There were a time, now I just won't put myself in that kind of company, but there were a time when I'd find myself in that company, and by way of my way of dealing with social and that kind of situation is to control it, right? So it's a matter of, well, what can I do for you? And these fuckers are absolutely entranced, glued. as to things they don't know that I know who isn't a criminal. So you get it where there's been a time when in Rochdale there'd be criminals who'd be together and they'd be like, who do we know who's smart, who knows a thing or two? We need to get all the John Collins. I bet now just run out of cigarette filters. Otherwise there's going to be, I don't know, a referendum. And I found a full packet here. Never been that fool. But yeah, the things I've seen, the things I've witnessed, the class of people who don't give a fuck about government, don't give a fuck about elections, don't give a fuck about laws, don't give a fuck about, and it's a matter of it's just us and them. It's just our little collective and what we between us see as honourable or else worthy. Little dens of thieves everywhere. Like, most of them are like babies. They're like babies. Spend hours in the mirror trying to look frightening and things like that. Remember once someone tried to demonstrate to me how powerful she was by instructing one of her sons to intimidate me best he could. He sticks his arm out and he gets right in my face. And he's a fucking big goon. And I'm like, yeah, I'm impressed. Call off your goon, please. Pass the test. It's like, you understand this? Yeah, I do. When you find yourself in the company of people who understand power, it's like, apparently suddenly you've actually arrived at my level, and it be oh, you finally arrived at my level. What's your angle? I miss something I miss that I'm no longer able to do is unplanned explorations of like liquor. I used to really fucking enjoy that. I used to like it when you went out for a game of snooker in the afternoon and ended up 16 hours later talking about the universe in some stranger's living room. I used to fucking love that. And it sounds like some hobo story, doesn't it, when I say it like that? But it's not. Number of people I've met who've been like fast friends who you get talking to. It's like, that's what people do when they're in drink. That's where you go to these places where music bang, 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 bang. It's to try to disrupt people who, it's to try and make it all about basically look and smell, isn't it? As opposed to, I heard a good story today. Oh, did you know that? Oh, you know, fucking love that shit. I heard tales from, say, go way back in my past, for sort of hanging around with wise guys, knowing scammers and criminals, and be in a friend of mine's living room on fuck knows what we were on, but we were wasted. No, I could speculate as to what we were on, but we were all, yeah, we were fucked. It was powder, but we don't know what it was really. There was a time at the time there was a trend of mixing cocaine with ecstasy and snorting it. So I always assume that that's what I wrote. And I'd have been about, how old would I have been then? 21, 22. And I got to talking to these two women who, a mate of mine, Paul, I use his real name because you'll never work out who it is then. Because he just goes by his alias, doesn't he? We were back at his house with another lad who had all the drugs. And these two women, who these two other lads, right, were hell-bent on, oh, we're going to shag these two, right? But they ended up not doing because they found out how bad they were. Right? These were two young women who were about the same age as me, if not a couple of years younger. And they'd worked out that they could become private landladies. And that's what the job was. They'd made it the job. They were buying houses and flipping them in a market that was booming, like in a market that everything doubled in value in about 2 years at one stage. They were at the forefront of it, and they reckon they were buying a house a week, redecorating it and putting it straight back on the market and making a big profit on it. But they'd worked out a way of leveraging the properties on top of one another, which means they were able to buy more with equity. What were they before they'd become housing entrepreneurs? I mean, these are women who'll be driving around now in fucking Range Rovers full of Botox. They had a ruthless mind as to how they could make a lot of money very quickly, and buying a house a week and then decorating it, which they did themselves. You know, they've got people in basic jobs to buy it now, give it a lick of paint, and sell it as fast as possible and make thousands and thousands and thousands. They were flipping houses. They were dickheads. They were young girls who were just full of drugs. They were party girls and didn't have a single qualm about what they were saying about doing, as to where it's like, yeah, we've found this way of living. This is what we're doing. It's like they were bad girls. They were nasty pieces of work. They're like, oh yeah, they had a scam for everything. It's like they had dodgy people that they were able to get the paperwork all signed off by, and they'd found themselves a friendly fraudster mortgage broker, as to where those guys they made out like fucking bandits during those years. Sat there listening to it, and I'm like, fucking hell, I've got to. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I've got to go to work at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm all right. But these women, they would call me a fool for someone who turns up and fucking checks paperwork and puts figures into computers, wouldn't they? It's like, what a fucking mug you are, turning up like that. It's like scammers, and no one, and in the years since then, as to where there's been that massive fucking amount of money went into private hands in gaming that system. It's like no one anywhere ever asks anyone or gives a fuck where they got the money from in this country. The reality of this country, I learned quite suddenly, right, was if you pay your bills in this country, you pay your tax, you can do anything. No one's ever going to come looking for you. Doesn't matter what you do for a job. Doesn't matter at all. As long as those bills are paid, no one's in your fucking business at all. You could be doing anything, and if that council tax bill gets paid, they don't give a fuck. Now, knowing this piece of advice, that they say that the system is, that the authority in this country is vacant and only as good as the fool who looks up the information. It's like, it doesn't actually matter what I do for a job, does it? You get this thinking arise with people who've got are in jobs that can be actually, heavily, easily exploited. And suddenly you've got a world of like crooked accountants, crooked lawyers, crooked mortgage advisors, crooked estate agents. And I know them all, knew them all. They see me around and like, all right, you made out like bandits, fucking actually for years deciding who got to own the property, funneling all the best stuff to your mates for years and years and years, as to where you see in this town for a lot in that period for a long time, you'd see a house and be like, I wouldn't mind buying that. There was one I was seriously after for years. A 1-bedroom terraced house, in essence what is my sort of spiritual neighbourhood, old stomping and boozing ground, that was like, oh, this is perfect for me. You wouldn't even let me put an offer on it. It was fucking sold, but the sign went up and it had already been decided. It's like, can I not like silently bid more than the other person? No, you can't. It's already been sold. Oh, so what's the sign up for? No, the agent had already sold it to some mate, understanding that you spend a few quid on it. Like, I saw it. Oh, you can renovate that and it'd be fucking brilliant. You could, in a house you could just live in your whole life. You won't ever move. I'd never move. If I'd have got that, I'd have still been living there. Perfect. It's like right in the centre of the town, but because of the high spot in the town, right at the top of the mountain of the fucking place, and looking down on field. You're in the middle of a town, an urban zone, but looking down on fields and a little pond. It's like, what a fucking spot. But no, they wouldn't even let me fucking put an offer in on it. Won't let me view it. So no, it's already sold. All stitched up. All saw it years of fucking all of them scamming, crime. Well, if you sign to say I'm definitely telling the truth about my inflated income, they'll take your word for it. Have as much money as you want. What you're going to use it for? Oh, I'm going to buy a house to flip. And the trick of really making a lot of money at this is to buy one a week. It's like, you wonder why it's where government income was just blasted through the fucking ceiling in them days with all the extra stamp duty with all these houses being sold. Just took one of those mortgage advisor guys to sit down with his mates just that once and say, got an idea here. A big loophole's just appeared. Look what we can do. You know that financial crisis of 2009 that sent all the markets into panic and ended up putting me out of work from my favourite job. Bullshit. It's a narrative for that. It actually, like the big shark guys, no, what they saw, right, was that fraud. And it's like, if they'd have asked me what that fraud is, I could have told them. But no, they saw it as something different and reacted to it. There's not a thing wrong with that setup that they had of selling on derivatives and taking out insurance policies. It's like them moving money amongst themselves, creating opportunities to sell what is reasonable paper, because fundamentally it's like those notes are all signed off against bricks and mortar, and people will always want a place to live. That old collapse and credit crunch shouldn't have happened. There was no need for it. The data didn't suggest that it had to happen. It suggested that you had a problem with fraud in the system, but the market had accepted the fraud and was willing to pay what it was paying. Seemed that so many people in the world at that time, with the value of their property having doubled in a short amount of time because of this roulette game, craps game, had all done well out of it and didn't have any fucking intention of you know, they didn't reject it. They weren't complaining about it. They knew credit was easy. They knew you could go and get it. They knew if they moved quickly enough and strategically enough, like they didn't buy a sack of shit, they could soon just flip it and sell it on to the next person. So then you get a credit crunch. What does that do? Well, it shortens the market in mortgages, makes it very hard to get them. It's like, why does it play out like that? Well, they've put in a risk factor based on a new set of mathematical rules. And it's like, no, it's like this financial crisis that happened. It's not about reckless fucking spending by banks. It's about millions and millions and millions and millions of counts of fraud where the paperwork actually matches up, but then the rug gets pulled and it all falls to fucking pieces. So it's like they caught all of the shit fraudsters and made it look like something different. It's like, we need to punish the banks. It's like, what for? For turning up for work every day. They didn't recklessly do anything. Someone saw an incredible amount of fraud in the system and made it appear to be something else. So have you lost your mind, mate? Do you not understand asset values? Do you not understand? It's like people are agreeing to pay for property at this price. The price is maybe being inflated, but the markets themselves would dictate when the price needs to fall. Fraud in the system isn't necessarily an overvaluation. It's like the ever expanding market also having elements that were predatory and happy to cash in on people when they came out bankrupt, either got sick or couldn't work anymore, went nuts or whatever. They had systems there ready to fucking sweep up at the bottom the carnage they created at the top. And eventually it's like these same interests that were lending and lending and lending were also outsourcing and destroying jobs. So every time they destroyed jobs, they put mortgages into dispute and create a situation where they could accumulate more property. The pincer effects of that of what have caused a big problem, but fundamentally it's like they got past that, and it just has, ever since then, people are paying a lot more for mortgages, but the value of property hasn't fucking really moved. I'd say in this country, realistically, because of people stalking that fire for so long and the money pouring into the system through all the credit for all the fucking mortgages, creating an illusion of growth. All the fucking mega bucks spent renovating all these houses to make them worth more money. It's like it drove our economy for years, and they never accepted that it did. And to my mind, since that easy cheap, we've been in recession as far as I'm concerned, because the whole fucking economy was geared around all this renovation, all this flipping of houses. The amount of money to be made by fucking plumbers and joiners and electricians was incredible, finding themselves in demand and in short numbers. So it's like my relationship with the great fucking lie that is the horrible, clannish and corrupt world that we've created. Long and winding. I can truly, in my heart, count the number of good people I've known on just the two hands, I think. And I ain't one of the, I am a goodie, but I'm not one of the good goodies. I'm one of the bad goodies. I'm one of the bloody reformed who had to learn all the important lessons the fucking hard way. But having learned the lessons, went, okay, that's a good deal. I'll take that. Thanks for the lessons. And yeah, okay, no more of that, please. I see the lad Connor, het up, angry, and rightfully angry, but it'd be a matter of the political rhetoric that this anger's driving is not going to fucking help. It's not going to work. It needs to wear off. It's like you guys have to look at yourselves and say, hey, any time at all, you know, we've always had, all of us, an email off Johnny Collins out of Rochdale who's been desperate to tell us all the ins and outs of working class atrocity. The stories behind those fucking statistics are not in a way to say, isn't this fucking terrible? It's to say, mate, damage done, understand. Where the fuck were you? Take this gift of knowledge and use it wisely. Don't start a mountain revolution with it. That time has passed. That should have happened on its own years ago and was suppressed. Its suppression is why it's such a fucking big deal now. That's the big deal, the suppression. You can correlate what you now know with all kinds of different things where you can read surveys of people in this neck of the woods who'd be like, no, I wouldn't report a person for terrorism. I'd be too afraid of being accused of being racist. And understand that this place has been like that since about 2008, 2009. And I mean, fixed like that. So that's the only game in town. This whole construct of racism and sexism is the society that is the framework of the institutions of the place, and the same everywhere else. And it's a blind god. Well, the blind god has power. All you have to do to get away with fucking terrible things is to do things so heinous that no one would believe it to be true. And you'll get away with it. It's like you can do what you want, aim fucking big. It's like if the story of what you've done seems in any way far-fetched, or they can find a single reason as to why to doubt it, they will. The fight is, and always will be until it's done, getting rid of the Labour Party not getting elected on a mandate of clearances. It is not the answer. And the objection to the anger is, where were you? I've been here. I've been brave enough for years to mouth off about this place. Where have you been? Years I've had the guts to mouth off about what I think about this place. Share a few, vocal truths, things we know, things that never get addressed. I've done it. I've been brave enough to do it. It's like, didn't fucking knock on my door, didn't send me an email, didn't send me a fucking text message nor a fucking raven, or Snapchat, fucking WhatsApp. Find me on all kinds of things. Just get my phone number from someone who's got a brain. I'll tell you. It's like Roger's probably the man, but I say Roger ain't me. He tells a different story altogether. He knows, he gets it. And it's like, and you know too, it's like as soon as you put together the state of the fucking play with the councils, the horrendous fucking green political correctness, affirmative action, all that shit going on, acting as a smokescreen for something extremely sinister behind it. Once you put all the pictures together, it's a matter of who rules this country, who's really in charge, who's got influence in these places, who can get things done. And it's a matter of the Labour Party would be fools not to do as they're fucking told. Otherwise, they'd probably find themselves dead. That's the top and bottom of it. When you get it as to where you're pointing to high crimes like kids being kidnapped and slaved out and huge, massive scale drug trafficking, people start getting their throats cut for that. Just saying. The Labour Party didn't stick to the things they can say, like my racism and my sexism and my climate, and actually addressed power in their constituencies, they wouldn't last till end of week. They'd soon be taking it back. They'd soon be afraid of the repercussions as to, you can't say that. They live in fear. All of them. They live in fear. It's like the Labour Party. It's like, do you live in fear? Many people don't realise they do. They think living in fear is being a good person. And they reinforce and ensure other people live in fear as well. It's like, you've got to defeat that idiot, that collective fucking idiot that is the councils of Britain. You've got to fucking kill them off. You've got to kick them out of office and make it so they have to go and find themselves a job. And then at the same time, when they're going looking for a job, say, oh, well, you know, there's cuts in the public sector. We can't rehire you at the council in a different job, pushing a pen. Sorry, love, no job for life. You can't. Now you've been turfed out of the council and politics. You cannot return to the NHS, the councils, the unions, the civil service. Fuck off. Because you fucking scrap your way off it by calling everyone racist and sexist who had an original fucking thought or who went up against your plans. Father, how long have I been fighting that? Long as I've had a fucking webcam you can see through. You just fight your way up, blast everyone out of the way, call them racist and sexist. See ya. Hanging on your every word for months and months and months, just waiting for the time when you drop something that could be in some way construed as being inflammatory or sexual, whatever, and then have you. And then it's high fives. Move up the ladder. I get to have your job. Thank you. Bye. Dinosaur. To see ya. And people see what happens to that guy and they're like, do well keeping my job. Good job. My gob shut, don't I, to keep my pension. Don't I do fucking right? Keeping my gob shut to keep my pension. The world they've created is the world we live in. And you only get to really meet its absurdity when you're embedded in it. It's the only people who really know, I think, about just how far government idiocy and cruelty goes are the people at the bottom who've had the system inflicted on them. I'm one of those guys. Never had a more deadly enemy in this fucking world than the government. In how it's basically treated me. It's like when you start get people who enjoy, who have taken to enjoying making people suffer, and they say, "Oh, why don't you go and work for the government? You'll really enjoy that." I remember hearing a friend of mine's sister who was like a comic strip. She had a life like a crazy roller coaster. And years later, it's come to realize, oh, fucking hell, I know exactly what we're wrong with her now. Like, how's she getting on these days? Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's worse now. She's got kids. Oh. And she got a job. She wasn't psychologically stable. She had personality disorders and the like. And she got a job once working for a debt collection agency. And on the phone. And their job was to threaten people. Make them cry. And she thought it was fucking brilliant. She come round mouthing off about it once. It's all right, love. Really? That's what you do? Oh, it's all right, love. It's like we have such a good crack. It's like, I just told him this. Oh. Not farting a loony head about fucking tearing people up. Didn't give a fuck. Thought it was funny. Thought it was a great way to spend the day. She lasted in that job for about 3 weeks and then she had a nervous breakdown and went back on the fucking sick. She thought she was the cleverest person in the world because she got herself a really good job when she left school. She went working for Co-op Insurance Services, CIS, Manchester. Good company to work for. Did quite well at school. Got a good job. She worked for them for 2 years, so she was made a permanent member of staff. And then as soon as she'd done her 2 years, took her 6 months on sick leave. Immediately. And then she came back to work for 1 day. It triggered her, so she's gone nuts again. And she had another 6 months off. She got away with it for 3 years before they eventually found grounds to sack her. Years. And she thought she was the smartest person in the world. She thought she was the cleverest person who fucking ever walked the earth. I'll have to go in for 1 day. And she says, do weird mathematical how much per hour she gets actually paid, and it be in the fucking tens of thousands of pounds. Well done. And the people around her crew, a lot are like, oh God, I wish I had a good job like that so I could do that. It's like me and her brother, right? We used to love it when she came round. We just used to listen intently to everything she said and just look at each other like that. I remember once she came round saying, lads, I've got something for you. It's like, you'll like this, you'll win loads of money. Chain letter. And she's explaining that if we give her a tenner, right, like, yeah, we know what a chain letter is. It's like a mini Ponzi scheme. And then it's me and Adam like, where did you learn about chain letters? Oh, watching Grange Hill. It's that's the one, isn't it? So I says to my mate, I says, say I've had a better idea, right? You give me £10 and cut her out. And then you... And she's like, no, you can't do that. You have to pay me. No, you can't start a rival one. No, it don't work like that. It's like, how much have you paid out? How much have you put into this? Love? Fucking hundreds. Paid hundreds into chain letters. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like the whole elaborate scheme of whoever's in it might just be there to take your money from you, which is what usually a chain letter is. They've got one person who one person falls for it, we're in. Just fleece them. And the person they've fleeced is certainly the one who's going around trying to recruit other people to join the chain letter. They're like, who could be this stupid? And you would try and talk her out of it, and it'd be just endless amusement. And she'd go and be like, hey, come back anytime. So funny. She brought a friend round once who was a clueless bird from fucking Burnley. And she walks in and she's wearing very little. And she'd be about 18. And me and Adam about 26 or something, 25. We work for a living, so it's a weeknight and we're like work guys, so we're shirt and tie guys having a beer. And she walks in with her mate. And her mate, you look at her and you'd be like, oh, hi. You know, it's like, oh, she's nice. She's kind of cute. And she was, she had her heart set on becoming first a page 3 model and then breaking into hardcore porn. That was her ambition. And Adam's crazy sister was like helping her. They're like, we're like looking at each other like, we don't want to be involved in this one bit, do we? We don't like the sound of this. This sounds really fucked up, doesn't it? Like, yeah, but it was just another episode of her fucking life of make-believe. It's like this kid, you know, a mate who's, oh yeah, that's what I like. I mean, all right, yeah. There's no downside to it at all. It's like, that's what I'm into, and if they fit, you know. And then objections met with, well, you know, not really interested in you two, am I? You know, you're losers. Oh, that was one of the best things. And it's like this girl, it's like she knew she was hot and she would tell you so, and it was so funny. It's like she thinks we're out of her league, yet she, unbeknowingly, is a person from the lowest of the lowest of the low, who's now willingly heading into the gutter of getting fucked to bits by a lot of old men. Never found out what happened to her. But I tell you what, she was willingly walking into fucking deep shit trouble of all natures. Getting in with fucking shady strangers who meet in car parks and all that shit. And it's like, well, like, have you not thought about it? Oh no, I've already got it sourced. Okay, bye, see ya. See, same person on the sick permanently. Turns up home from a night out, still lives with her parents, and she's fucking wasted. But her parents have not seen her fucking wasted before. And they've got to questioning her, and they're like, there's something wrong with you. And she ain't for saying a fucking word about all the fucking E's and Tomazepam she's on. And all the drinking she's been doing, and all the weed, and all the cocaine that's in her. Because she was into all of them. You're having a heart attack. Your temperature's so high. Take her to the hospital. So what did the hospital do? Oh, well, they see someone who's certainly just wrecked. Stick her on an IV. Put some fluid back into her. Stabilise her, because she's not in such bad shape. She's just fucking smashed, and her parents have taken it a little bit too far. Because they've not seen her like, whoa, talking nonsense. And sees the doctors at the hospital and doesn't mention the drugs to them, but talks about her basic situation in life, what she goes through and her struggles, and psychic evaluation puts her down as being at the time they used less precise language, but they said that she was clinically depressed. And they put her on Prozac. And they told her that she'd not done anything wrong, that there was nothing wrong with her, and it was actually an illness. And she really demands some sympathy because it's not her fault. So she didn't tell them that she'd been on how much all the fucking drugs she takes, because you need to lay off the drugs, love, and so when you get off the drugs, come back and then we'll see if you're crazy or not, because we can't tell why you're on the drugs, love. Beat the addiction and see what's left. Is advice, right? But no, they weren't for asking any probing questions of a vulnerable woman. They let her tell them whatever she swallowed and just bought it all. I'll pull you. So next we see her, She's like, oh, there's some changes. I'm making some adjustments. These new things last about a fortnight. Where she's like, well, you know, it's like, it's not my fault, is it? I'm the way I am. I'm mentally ill. Nothing to do with me. It's just, you know, it's just chemistry and shit. Hopefully now, you know, they've found out, they've worked it out, they've put me on the pills, and I should be right. I should be right soon. Yeah, I'll be right. Didn't for a minute miss a beat on a fucking social life. She just had Prozac as well as. That's a big problem with women I know around here. They'll be on all nature of medication for all kinds of fucking shit. Like water tablets, fucking heart meds, blood pressure tablets, diabetes tablets, and they'll still be on the fucking gear. They'll still be on the meth. And they won't be telling the doctors about, hey, could all this fucking, all the, you know, all this drinking I do and all, could they be affecting the situation with me? The number of them who are like diabetics who are also just crazy pissheads who take it too far. But you could die anytime from that. Yeah. It's fucking mental. This place is a lunatic asylum. It's like the care in the community. They somehow worked out that they were fighting a battle that they could never hope to win and just pissing money against the wall. So they just abandoned it. And it's like all the crazy people have just been let loose on the fucking streets, in the institutions, or on the fucking internet. So like you guys, when you talk of your working class atrocity and now being annoyed because you found out about the grooming scandal, I'd suggest don't come and find me. I can make videos and tell you tales I know. Go and find Billy Howarth in Rochdale during the day and let him take you around talking to all the people who own businesses in Rochdale Town Centre and listen to what their day is like. And what passes as entertainment, it's just laid on every day. Go and have a look at that and realise what the thing you're so angry about, it has repercussions and they look like that. You can't keep corrupting people. You can't keep corrupting kids and expect them not to have kids themselves who are then the next generation of slave. It's like, this is a multi-generational problem. It's like, go and look it in the face, go and find out about it. I'm someone in life who's fortunate enough to have been strong enough to survive that kind of shit. Many aren't. Like fucking really bad things happen. And it's like, how do we address these bad things? It's like, well, first we need to be rid of the people who hide them. And then we can talk about them. And then we can do something about them. Human beings who aren't obtuse and don't fucking listen, that can be reasoned with, can quite often come up with solutions to problems. And I'm pretty sure we could, as a country. We could decide between us what's right and wrong and find a common. There has to be a unifying figure in this, or we're going to lose to the fucking Labour Party and the Greens. And they're going to double down and they're going to make things worse. Because it doesn't just stop, it carries on and it carries on and it carries on. And it's a matter of your momentum, because Labour is such a disaster to be rid of the fucking Labour Party. And the only way of doing it is all being on the same side. It's the only way. Knowing the minds of those who would tactically vote Green and all that shit. Knowing how such a large number of the populace, people who work for the government and work for the NHS and work for the councils and are dependent on, they can always be frightened by the Labour Party who will say that our enemies intend to put you out of business and take your pensions from you. And they tend to toe the line. And that voting bloc will not disappear. When they get thrown the sandwich of racism and sexism and my jobs and my public sector and my NHS, when they get a big enough dose of that and it gets reiterated through the workplaces, they'll stick with voting for the Labour Party. They'll vote with what the unions tell them to do. They'll vote with what their colleagues are telling them to do. They'll vote with what the bosses are telling them to do. So you will not, even if there's a massive ground shift against the Labour Party, you still have to defeat the establishment vote. And they're the people who work for the council, and there's fucking thousands of them everywhere. They are the voting bloc. That is the Labour core, and the swing that can defeat it is the Islamic bloc. And go through figures and show you election figures and say, right, okay, right, look at how many voted and go and look up on the internet how many people work for the council. Go and weigh up how many people work at the hospital, all unionised, all been through the same university system, all understanding the same simplified version of the fucking world. You see, there's a thing that they miss as well that's really key. You know, if you're a YouTuber and you find an audience and you're quite, mundane or whatever, or a constant news audience, the people who are watching you are generally people who are kind of in the same boat as me, who are in one way or another housebound, disabled, internet-bound. It's like a big problem in this country we've got is that a lot of people who call themselves activists or are fighting a cause are mentally ill people who are on the sick. I'm not a mentally ill person on the sick. I am a heart patient on the sick. Let's make that distinction, shall we? But there's a lot of mentally ill people on the sick who tend to be the people who've got the time to try to drive the internet to do something. And we've got a big problem in this country that they're failing to really address, which is something like 5% unemployment, which relates to the young and the tech savvy joining forces with the old and broken. As to who the constant audience is for this internet material. And how the new way of doing things has in some regards failed to register in the mainstream media, as to where you find yourself seeing a BBC bulletin and its way and method of reporting the news and its angles and views, in my estimation, haven't changed in 30 years. How many people find themselves in worlds where they find themselves so engrossed that that's the trusted source of information? Because I believe it or not, there are people like that who still exist, and they all fucking vote too. And you've got to defeat them as well. By the time, the thing is with this full-term Labour, it can be by the time a general election comes along that they've already been decimated out of the councils. Now that'd see an early election, and the early election would gift victory to Labour again. They'd be better prepared to deal with it than anyone else who might want to organise against them. I guarantee it. Any kind of snap election that they name the terms of will be weighed in their favour one way or another. They've done some deal, or there'll be some understanding as to where this is in our favour. They're never going to give away power, because as soon as their political enemies find their way onto the councils and find their way into the cabinets, they might start sacking people or trying to hold people to account. But the mission ahead for people at the local level in reforming and getting the woke bastards out of our councils is going to be probably the hardest thing ever fucking attempted since Market Garden. It's like, it's massive. It's like we've got a big issue, and it's like, face the biggest issue first, and that is we can't have a realistic conversation about anything that matters until the Labour Party's gone. I came to this conclusion a long, long time ago, which is why in my time I have always simply allied with whoever had a chance to beat the Labour Party. That's who I vote. That's how I've always voted. And I've always voted strategically my entire life. I will vote for whoever I think's got the best chance of beating the Labour Party. And I ain't on my own. That's how to vote for yourself. That not who, you don't vote for who you want to win. Stupid. Unless you know someone's got a chance. It was a great thing for me as to where Galloway came along, and I was able to influence his campaign. Why did I back Galloway? Because I knew he could win as soon as he stood. What did I predict would happen as soon as Galloway arrived? Hundreds of people would turn up to be activists. Why? Because I know that the only activist corps available to be mobilised in Rochdale is one of Asian descent, mostly. And you can muster hundreds of them very, very quickly. And all of them are united in one purpose: the removal of the Labour Party from Rochdale. And but they mostly they offer an alternative order. Basically, the representatives are a little bit more real world savvy than the Labour Party. They give a little bit of a shit more about communities and businesses and things like that than they do about foreign wars. Although they, oh God, the damage that's been done to those people over the years by people banging that politicised Palestine drum has had the effect of brainwashing that population. And it's like, people will criticise Galloway as to doing this for Gaza, but it's like whoever banged that drum would win that election, and it couldn't not be part of it. I am someone who's like, oh, for fuck's sake, you're running for a seat in Rochdale, campaigning about Gaza, for what? To what end? Raise awareness. We already fucking know. Pressure our government. Well, what do you want our government to do? They declared Palestine a state, but did it make a bit of difference? No. You managed to mobilise a network of people, which inevitably in that process of mobilising them, they've all now been recruited, and now there's in essence a lightning force of Islamic political activists who can turn up like a renter mob because they've been consistently demonstrating they can do it for a couple of years, as to where it's like, okay, who are they politically allied to? Truth of that be political allied to Mr. Galloway. That's his constituency. As to where you kind of understand as to why for a time it was worthwhile being allied with Mr. Galloway. He showed himself in my eyes to be an exceptionally poor judge of character, which is a double-edged sword. So he ended his association with me, having me giving him a bit of a stick in the eye for being so stupid as to make common ground with Andrew Tate and his scam of the week that I'm going to be the next Prime Minister of Britain and we should join forces. Pantomime, which didn't just alienate me, alienated a small but very, very valuable cabal of very well-meaning, well-to-do activists around London town. At the same time as me, all fell out with Mr. Galloway. he lost some sort of some very in their way talented and well-meaning, well-connected, well-networked people because of that association with Tate. Having miscalculated that certain elements of the core of his organisation were in league or friends or followers of Tate, or had become enamoured with him since he decided that he was to tell the world he was Muslim, and suddenly saw him as some kind of valuable ally in a propaganda war against Israel, and suddenly they're friends, and suddenly Mr. Galloway's party people in Birmingham, which is, Jesus Christ, it's like, you ever been to Birmingham? Go, have a look round, see what it's like. I used to get there pretty often with work, and that's years ago, and I can only imagine it's got worse. It's like certain fucking neighbourhoods around there that I had to go to for work that were like, what country is this? What smell is that? Birmingham, the place where once this massive black guy with the the big hat over his, hair, came down sitting next to me, and he had a really high-tech phone for its time, better than the one I had. I had a Nokia N95, but he had like an iPhone which had a full screen so you could look at pictures on it. This guy sat down next to me like I was his brother or a neighbour that he hadn't seen for a week or two or something like that. And he started talking to me as if we're all friends and telling me all about what he were up to. And this guy, looking at the state of him, he was wasted, and he thought he recognised me and started talking to me. And I was so kind of freaked out by it, and I'm not one to fuck with people who are like schizophrenic, cause a lot of trouble. So you better off just playing along. I'm a travelling person with trade plates, so it's like, I need no trouble. I need to just get off this bus when it arrives at the station and go about my business, get on with my job. I want to get home. This guy explains to me that he's in the UK now, right, on the sick. He was certainly wasted on something, and the stuff he was drinking that seemed homemade smelled like, almost like creosote, and he was certainly getting wankered off it, whatever it was. And it had like sticks in it and all sorts, and he's drinking this stuff. And he's showing me, he's on the sick in this country, and he's sending money over to Trinidad. And he's showing pictures to me of his house being built by his cousins. See, that's where they've put the foundation down. That's where they've... Like, why are you telling me this? Who are you? And he's like, yeah, man, and drinking something fucking stinky and rancid out of an old Coca-Cola bottle with fucking plant shit in it. And this guy was like proud of his endeavour. It's like, I'm on the sick here, and I'm sending money, and we're building me a house. And it's like, when my house is finished, I'm going home. And fuck knows if that was, say that was something real, or else he was just some fantasist, and he'd just come up with some fucking crazy tale to tell and just found some pictures somewhere of a shed being built. But it's like, have that level of crazy just sit down next to you and start fucking mouthing off as if it's so familiar to you. And it's like, the over familiarity is always, I can just sense that when someone's being over familiar. And because I'm so sensitive to it, I can always just play along. It's like a secret club. Oh yeah, I know what you're like. You detect that someone's got very few boundaries, and almost immediately when they address you in such a forward way as to where that's actually an attempt to manipulate. You know, want to try living a day for years, having had the full set of fucking skills, and being forced into all these ridiculous situations. I had a job one day, so I'll end with this. I'll tell you a story about how the way the fucking world works sometimes. I used to drive for a living. I used to pick up, inspect, and deliver vehicles. And a lot of it involved getting to places where you had to just kind of do your best and make your way. Sometimes it mean getting on a train, sometimes it mean getting a lift, sometimes it would mean working with someone else, sometimes it would mean getting on a bus, sometimes it would mean hitchhiking out into the countryside. So I think it was Lincoln I was dropping off a car on the outskirts of it, on the far side. And I had to get towards the coast. Good 20 or 30 mile. There's no bus that does that. So I'm fucking stood out on motorway junction with my trade plates in my hand and a sign saying heading towards, you know, like what's that shithole, like to be like taught, no, what's that shithole, Skegness, towards in that direction. So I stands there for about 45 minutes, and it's a weird one. It's like, you know, like you lose something and then it's always in the last place you look. Well, when you're waiting to be picked up and you're hitchhiking, and if you've got trade plates, your business to be hitchhiking. Generally, you pick someone up and you can have a really good conversation with them about cars, if you like, or else roads. You find that then people are quite nerdy about what they're into. I used to be. So when I used to be picked up at the side of the road, it'd be a matter of, oh, this is whatever vehicle I was being picked up by, it'd be like, oh, this is and I'd always know something about them. So it's like, you're kind of a car spy. So that's what you talk about when you get to going. I've had a few weird ones that though, when I've been hitchhiking. But yeah, I was, and so you stand there, stood there 45 minutes, and like, this is fucking terrible. And then someone flashes the lights, says, oh, do you want a lift? Oh, yeah, I can take you that way. And we were just so lucky as the place I were going to was on the main drag, main approach. The road I was on, he just had to stop at the side of the road and let me off, and I had 200-yard walk to where I needed to go. So it took the drive was about half an hour. And then that 45 minutes I stood there doing nothing then apparently seems like the most genius, fastest way you could have ever travelled anywhere, because to do the same thing on a bus might have taken a day. No buses around there. So suddenly it's like, oh, I'm on schedule again here. We're doing well. Got a free lift. I'm where I need to be. Went to pick up this like Range Rover, like Vogue SE, nice one. I thought, oh, this will be like a big, like 4 litre plus, like 4.7 litre, big fucking diesel monster. And it were a nice day, and I was expecting a nice drive home. All I had to do that day was take that to Manchester from there and just go home. Or go to Manchester and ring up the office and say, have you got me a nice easy job for tomorrow morning that I can go and get now? We can maybe try and earn some. So that was my plan. And I went, and this guy who I picked it up off, he was a massive big shot. He owned, his car were full of all his, he'd unpacked his car and it were full of all this bump and merchandise for his business that it looked like he was kind of running out of his house, or his massive house, part of it was a showroom. And he was a guy who sold tiles and paving stones for internal, kitchen shit. But his were sold at Harrods. And all his bum for all only sold at Harrods. Yeah. So it's like this guy was a big shot in the old what appeared to be stone masonry game house. Look at size of it. It was like the same style as you see a sort of like a pre-war semi looks like a council house, but like the house it was based on, which is like 5 times bigger. Like a big fucking pre-war, like 7-bedroom house, but along the same design lines of what's so familiar, you know, of the time. Beautiful big house. So I'm picking up this Range Rover, and I inspect it, but I don't move it because I don't have to. I inspects the thing. Okay, so all the shit knocked out. Okay, spare wheels here. Jobs are good, and paint work. Yeah, no dings. Nice. Yeah, it's in nice nick. Fine. Go around it. Signs it with customer. So then it's in my custody. Puts it in a drive. No transmission whatsoever. None. No gearbox. Just fucking dead. Just dead. And it's like, have I done something wrong here with the fucking high and low resolution? You know, it's the way all you could make it do was to jam it in drive and just press the accelerator and make it skip around in first gear. It's fucked. Gearbox fucked. You could get something out of whatever that fancy gearbox had in it to make it so you could move the thing, right? Or get it off a trailer. That's all it had left. It was absolutely fucking shagged. And this guy, right, I weighed up, I looked at the vehicle, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Noticed on the second look that it had loads of, you know, there's vehicles where in the bumper sections there's like cutaway ports. Behind those ports, they are screw-in or fittable mounting points where you can put in circles, you know, around ringlets so you can tow the vehicle without, you know, damaging it. Well, second look, I noticed that the ringlets were in and that thing had just recently been dumped off the back of a recovery vehicle. And that clever dick knew if he booked a firm like mine to move it, as soon as we sign for it, it's our responsibility to take it to the destination that it wants to go to. Manchester auction. So I'm out on the fucking coast, on the east coast, and then waiting 3 hours to be picked up by an RSC man, an AA man, right? And he's in a pickup vehicle that can only do about fucking 50 mile an hour or something like that. So I have to wait the rest of the day waiting for him to come for a job that fundamentally at the end of the day I'm getting paid about 26 quid for. But my job has now become transporting the place to Manchester and having to dump it actually outside the place because it long since closed. Didn't get to Manchester till 8 o'clock at night. I've been on road since 5 o'clock in the morning. And earned myself in day 60 quid. That fucking arsehole, knowing being clever, he deliberately stitched, it was a landmine of a job that. He just found a loophole how he could cheaply get a vehicle moved a long way to where he needed it to go. Get a plater to sign for it and have it just die on its arse on the driveway, and suddenly it's not your problem to get it shifted. It's not your expense. It's insured. It's part of the job. The bill goes to, you know, whatever my firm's account at the AA or the RAC. Glorious. The guy in his little smirky way thought himself so clever. It's like, oh, I'm such a clever boy. Didn't realise its repercussions was to fuck my day and ruin my week of work. Didn't give a fucking first thought. It's like, come across that a lot in my life. Yeah, I can gain and be clever by fucking you over. And then flaunting it. What are you going to do about it? Been there. just fucked you. I'm not clever. See, yeah, I know a trick or two. It's like, yeah, that's probably the biggest cunt trick in the world. And you know what? I've had it played on me before as well. I've had that done to me before. Someone went for I went with a proper firm as well, but they say WeBuyAnyCar.com. They're them guys. They're yard down at it's Smithick near fucking West Brom. Yeah, they fucked me with one once to move it to Manchester, and I didn't have the capacity to get to the end of the road. But I committed a sin as to where they gave it to me already running, quite aware that it'd never run again if I switched it off. But they weren't for selling me; they were for stitching me with it, so they could exploit a free lift, a free collection, a free pickup. Had me pushing a fucking piece of shit through a real fucking busy junction, getting on a fucking motorway, those bastards. Put my life in danger, but they didn't give a fuck. Someone moved the vehicle and thought they were clever. Might have had to pay someone to fix that to get it transported legitimately. I've had that sent to things that haven't been properly scouted where the job's if, and it shouldn't be moved, but they're going to move it under your plates and it's not roadworthy. Paperwork might say it is, but it fucking isn't. You get there and they send you out to the back and beyond, and it's like, the thing's got 4-ball tyres and it smells like fucking someone's died in it. It's like you've just recruited someone to do a fucking job that if you did, there's a chance you'd lose your licence for doing it. But under the cover of my fucking trade plates, no one's going to pull this vehicle, are they? It's exempt from being tugged. And it's like, this thing is just fucking disgusting. It's like, there's a smell in the world, right, that you find in cars that'll never come out. It'll never come out. And it's not that someone slept in it. It's someone died in it and stayed there quite a long time. And it's its own smell, and you'll never get it out of your fucking head once it's in there. It's just the worst thing in the world. It's like, oh God, what? Yes, that's my, yeah. It's like, it smells halfway between humans sleeping in it and dogs living there as well. But it's not quite that. It's that and something else that's kind of almost sweet. And it's, yeah, someone died in this fucking thing. Like, yeah, get sent out to the middle of nowhere. But like, I can turn this job down, but that'll leave me stranded in the middle of the Welsh countryside at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with absolutely no practical means of getting the fuck out of here. So you're blackmailed into taking a job that if you take it, if the cops pull you with your 4-ball tyres, you'll lose your job anyway when they take your licence off you. It's like, I spent a good while being that cunt who was that vulnerable. Remember once a fucking moment I had where I'm at the side of the road trying to get a lift into Bristol, where I pulled off a fucking miraculous, I pulled off an absolutely miraculous, unbelievable quick hitch of a lift off a lad driving a big like dumper truck, and he had I needed to get to Bristol from somewhere. It meant 2 trains to get there. It was awkward. It was like countryside. It was like 40 miles away. And I saw this dumper truck guy coming along, and he had this big fucking scarf in his fucking window of his car, his cab, Bristol City FC. And I just went, yo! Showed him a place. I'm like, you going to Bristol? Yeah, I'm on my way home. Do you want a lift? Like the lift of the fucking century. Up until that moment, that day had been fucked. And that saved me bacon, that, because it meant I got to my last job I had a chance of getting to my last job of the day before the place closed. And you find yourself in a hotel, then you're fucked. You've blown it. You're going to get home. You know you're going to get home. So I got this brilliant lift. And he says, right, he says, I can't take you all the way because I would, but this, vehicle is driving. It's like this. It does about 12 miles to gallon, this, mate. I ain't driving you the extra 4 miles down that road to get to where you want to go. I need to go to a big industrial estate that I'd have to walk through. You never know how big they are if you've never been. You could be walking 20 minutes in an industrial estate, but I was quite lucky. It was near the front. And I needed a lift. And this truck come along. Fucking scrap heap Sherpa van. Back full of scrap metal, old appliances, jippos. Stopped. Where you be going? I said, need to get to Aztec West. It's like, oh, we'll be going along that way. We'll give you a lift. Fucking proper pikeys. Scruffy cunts, smelly fucking, like dangerous pikeys. Who, it's like, no disrespect to them, but to that day they had been scrapping for a living. They'd been scrounging and picking things up from wherever they could find it. Truck full of scrap. Not my problem that the truck is, to keep the door shut, you have to hold it shut in order to, be in it. I'm quite happy to get a lift. But halfway there, they're like, so what's in it for us giving you a lift? And I'm like, hey, mate, it's like one day you might need someone to help you. And he's like, you guys usually have got quite a bit of cash on you for fuel. It's like, nah, it doesn't work like that these days, mate. I ain't got any money on me. So, yeah, you got a fuel card, though. Yeah, I've got a fuel card, but I'm not giving it you. You don't have to give it me. Just fill my truck up for me. There's no petrol station on the way, mate. So I can, as well as that, I'd mean my job. I mean, come on, mate. You're at work here. You're on the job. So am I. I'm just getting to my next job, and you're doing me a favour, and I really appreciate it. No need to be like that. Drop me off, let me go. If I'd have been afraid all week, because I've dealt with people like that my whole fucking life, it's like pikeys. It's like they're probably the same pikeys from Rochdale. Like these guys move around when things get a bit stale and the pickings get a bit thin. They're off. Answering a no fucker. But they test the water to see if you're weak. And the trick with them guys is to, if you fuck me over, then what does that make you? You make them aware that you're aware of the game they're playing. And he'd be like, okay, we'll agree to be travellers, shall we? Yeah, let's agree to be travellers. Say, end up in the shit. See, my side of it is one of seeing workers exploited in this, seeing like workers really exploited in this country on my travels. If anything ever fucking radicalised me towards some kind of political bent, it was those years spent seeing just how badly treated workers are in this country. And many of them be foreign workers. But they say the thing once, there was a thing once upon a time where people were getting called racist at that stage of the game for trying to point out the fact that the country had been invaded by Poland's youth. Their entire workforces had arrived from foreign countries, and industries had arrived, just immediately popped up, housing these people, feeding them, transporting them. And everyone fucking noticed and everybody knew about it, and we all saw it and were like, this is not just one or two people coming, this is thousands. This is thousands of people getting made redundant and being replaced by all Polish. Entire shifts in places being these cheap Polish workers who couldn't quit because they'd get in trouble back in Poland where they signed the contracts of employment. They were all working for agencies. It's like the agency guys with those Polish workers were essentially gangmasters. They could make them do anything. I've seen it over and over. Different places, seen it. I helped take part once in a strike when I worked at Woolworths, when me and another fellow witnessed one of these gangmasters really mistreating one of these agency guys, foreign worker. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. No, it's later than that. It's a night shift. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. And he'd be told, right, you finish at 6, you're back in at 2. And this lad be like, I've just worked a double shift. Which you've been told to do. You've been ordered to do. Well, you're doing a double shift tomorrow as well. Ooh. And I hears this, and I'm like, what's all this about? And then the other guy in the room was the shop steward, but this guy mouthing off didn't know that. I did. And I looks over to him, because me and him used to have the odd fucking, kind of Marxist solidarity chat at the time. I was a much younger man. And he's like, oh. Never seen a union man operate better than that ever, than him. We overheard it, and I'm like, I looked at him, it's like, you're going to do something about this? And he did. He went to gang the master guy, and he says, right, mate, get off the site. What? Yeah, he said, I'm the union rep here, I'm the shop steward, I'm responsible for safety, amongst many other things on this site. And you're asking this guy to, having worked a double shift, go home, get about 5 hours sleep, and then be back on this floor driving a truck. I ain't having it. You're out. He's like, what? Yeah, you're out. And he says, well, I'll tell you what it is. You're either out or we're out. What do you mean we're out? He took the union out on strike there and then. He called, right, lads, everyone stop. Everyone stop. Well, that guy was, he wasn't working a double shift after that. And no one else was. Nobody else was being forced to work unsafe hours. Sorted it out. It's like, you just make a big enough scene for these union guys. These agency guys are all about lining their own pockets in for a fucking cut of every fucking penny you make. So they will drive you if they can get away with it. That guy, by making a stink that he was allowed to do, he didn't have to go upstairs, really. He didn't have to become a big deal. He just did it. He just used his actual power to make the machine stop. He stopped the machine. Stop the machine, right? All warehouse stops. He didn't have to stop for long for him to say, okay, we're going to start enforcing rules on you guys because you need them. Dealt with it. I was fucking proud of that guy. It's like, shit, that took 5 minutes of your time. And it was more about the attitude, the bullying that instigated that. It was the way he dealt with it. He was a fucking cunt. And when he were tackled for it, it were a matter of, in that moment before the lad give the big reveal as to say, I'm the shop steward, this guy was rearing up to him as to, what do you think you're going to do about it? He was being a bully. And I didn't like that. So it's like, I'm a bit bigger than him. And someone with this built-in terrible dislike for such people, that means that, to me, if you give someone like that a good hard kick, it doesn't really count. It's just fair enough. If you're gonna be that cunt, it's like cunt things happen to you. And I've lived and died by that. That's what, and it's like, I have issues with anger that I've had all my life, that I've got a hold of mostly. I refer to it as keeping a lid on it. I have a terrible curse in that I really regret not killing people when I don't. When you see red and you want to go for the throat, I don't do it because I'm smart enough not to. But I've somehow I'd included the hardware to just fucking kill. And I don't do it. And I'm like, okay, good idea. I can see red, but I can also see the repercussion of my actions immediately. And it'd be like, okay, you be angry, but it doesn't matter how right I've been about it. I still beat myself up about not doing it. even though to have done it would have been to put myself in incredible peril, risk my future. So it's like this tendency is, when the world becomes absolutely chock full of people like that, what do you think it's like for me, who's got a kind of inbuilt distaste for them? It's like political correctness to me has got the ability to turn the world into like this great big horrendous prison camp. And you're surprised. I find myself sometimes surprised by kindness, understanding that the many of the tools of this system are actually, you know, very decent people who wouldn't wish you a fucking moment's harm. And you know, you run across people like that, as to say, you know, when the day this system decides to grind you up, or someone decides to move you aside because they see you as a threat for one reason or another, will you still have that happy-go-lucky disposition when you've been betrayed? I always see, and it must be a bad thing, I always see people who are of a nice and chirpy disposition, or have got an innocence about them, as to where you should try and protect people like that, because having that wonderful thing taken from them is quite a change in scenery. It's a different life. There's every reason in the world to protect the vulnerable and the innocent. But there's loads of different ways as to how that manifests itself in reality. And in the modern world, most of them are seen as immoral by today's standards. You can't protect people. That's something that it's a difficult lesson to learn, that for a man who's a man, you know, biologically. You can't protect people, even though you probably physically could. You can't. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to protect people. And that be the, you know, that's the lasting agony of the people, because there's secondary victims, many thousands of them as well, secondary victims of the grooming gangs, the people who've had to pick up the pieces of their family members who've been so roughly treated, and it be for them sort of kind of a living nightmare that's changed everything, as to where there's no way to put it right, there's no way to eat, there's no way to actually even the scale. You could go out and murder the people who did it, and call it a reckoning and call it justice, but you wouldn't feel any different about it. You just feel bad about it for a different reason. It's a crime that in normal, you know, in normal human circumstances, if things were even, would lead to murder. A crime that leads to murder. And it's like, in our senses, in our notion of what is good and what is evil, and what is distasteful and what is sick, right? Messing with kids is probably the highest sin in our culture. And it's not being treated as such, when there are those who hear or see or witness are hit by its gravity, as to say that this is fucking wrong, this. But the people who partake in that kind of savage amusement are in themselves very, very dangerous and capable of things that you're not. So the people to definitely be frightened with, because they, in finding themselves in that situation, partaking in that nasty shit, they give you rather a big clue that they're very dangerous people. And, you know, what's a man to do against a gang? Go down fighting? Well, by the end of it, when the story's told, it'll be about you saying something racist, won't it? It'll be a justified killing. You see, the really extreme elements of the sort of Islamist movement are underground, plotting and passing, they're probably just sharing. Once upon a time, it was videotapes, and then it was DVRs, and then it became the internet. And in the same way as once upon a time, people were passing around Alex Jones videos and passing around, before we had the internet, we were able to stream things like that. People were throwing around David Icke, Well, they were years ahead of it. Extremist, in essence, what is Marxist propaganda that's been modified for Islamic use. Often not really as people understand it. It's titillating. It's like empowerment. I used to have buddies who used to come into, it was a Canadian kid who was Abu or something he was called. Abo. He was a good lad. Young guy. He was, he was a very intelligent and well-educated Muslim. He was from a good family, you know. He wasn't a terrorist or a wrong or anything like that. He was a reasonable lad. He used to give me donations as part of it being part of his. The good Muslims do that. The reasonable ones, they'll decide, oh, I'll give you a portion of my income. I see you as a worthy charitable cause. There's some money for you. So you get it where it's say Muslims, proper good ones, it's like they're really charitable. And he told tales of family, cousins, and they're people who stick with their family. They prefer the company of the family over others quite a lot, other than when they go to school and the like. So the families are close together, and he had uncles and cousins who had fucking loads of recruitment videos and propaganda videos about joining ISIS and the mission of Al Qaeda and anti-Zionist propaganda. It's like he'd been steeped in it his whole life. And he's the one who put it to me. It's like, you know, like people used to watch, like, pass around Alex Jones conspiracy videos. It's like the exact thing happens in the Muslim communities of the world everywhere you go. People are passing around media that's designed to stoke up resentment and instill entitlement and portray victims at the hand of the terrible, horrible Zionists. And it's like those forces are awakened, but they're in essence, at the moment, there's no real conceivable reason for them to start waking up and causing problems. But say your rhetoric that comes from Rupert and the like, and also recently Connor, it has them just opening a fucking eye. Almost probably waiting for someone in this part of the world to echo their sentiments so they can prey upon them as some kind of racist scapegoat. Seriously, it's like that line of deport, deport, deport everyone who knew about it because you're really angry about it because you've just discovered working class atrocity. You see people get fucking lynched in Rochdale, and see any political party or political local movement, which has to happen because you've got to take the council out. That's the thing that's on the table. If the rhetoric from Restore is as strong as it is, it's like it's wide open to misinterpretation and can be repackaged as something that's impossible and quite hateful in a place with a 40% Muslim population that's got all nature of fucking shit going on behind the scenes. Suddenly it's like those forces who would fight to defend what they've got would soon suddenly become at large, you know. It's like, don't incite them. They're not going anywhere. I'm not saying we shouldn't stand against. No, it's like we're not equipped to stand against. They're more than equipped to stand against the fucking state. They're well equipped to cause fucking mayhem. And it's like, they're not going anywhere. Election come, election go, the people will still be here. It's like, I'm not saying that Rupert Lowen is like selling us out, but I'm saying at this moment in time, their faculties have been dimmed because they've been traumatized. And to say to old me, it's like, it seems a sad thing to say, but at my sort of stage of the game, tales of terrible fucking woe and bad things happening to people are just water off a duck's back at this stage, just to say, it's like, yes, I shed my tears for those people a long, long time ago. Didn't have any left. But yeah, you don't go tapping into it now when for so long there'll be, say, plenty of willing people around this neck of the woods, say myself, Raja, guys like Billy and others who'd love to tell you what the score is. Would fucking love to tell you what the score is, but it's paints a picture of an enemy that in this place would be unsurmountable for you southern guys to plot to move the north. It's like you're completely unequipped and you shouldn't be anywhere near it. You don't fucking understand. Well, yeah, to hitch your wagon to restore Britain in Rochdale, bearing in mind this deport anyone who knew about it, anyone who enabled it, deport, mouthing off like that. And calling it, seeking an election mandate. That's just suicidal politics. No one's buying that. Even I'm turned off by it. It's like, if you run on that and you commit to that, and God forbid you got elected on a mandate of that, victor, deport. We'd have no rights left in this country. And by then it would be a fucking sectarian thing. We'd have no rights, we'd have no property rights left to strip British citizens of their property. Well, they easily just stripped Russians of their property for being Russians. It's like suddenly they'll start stripping Pakistanis of their property for being Pakistanis. And then how do you claim someone's, this is the thing about where the realities of the legal system meet organised crime. How can you prosecute someone who said nothing and did nothing for nothing? This is why it works. This is why gang culture can work. This is why gang culture can rule. When your sin is having said nothing and done nothing, what can you be convicted of? You aided and abetted. Did I? Can you prove that? No. Strangely, but we know you did. Okay, prove it. No, we can't. Sorry, rights. How the fuck in the first instance would you be able to discern the guilty from the innocent? I'm saying that it'd be a ridiculous and arduous process that if you actually just thought about it properly for a good 5 minutes or spoke to somebody with an ounce of common sense, you'd just drop the fucking idea. And understand that if we start digging around in graveyards, we're going to find a lot of corpses. They're all just as dead, whether they're in the ground or above it.